Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Metzia, page 25b. Top of the page, with the words Ka'avne, Beis Kulis Mahu. If they were configured like the stones of the house of worship dedicated to the Roman city, the Roman deity Mercury, what is the halacha? The Gemara suggests coming here a resolution of the dilemma. As it is taught in the Brayta, if one found scattered coins, these belong to him if they were configured like the stones of the house of worship dedicated to Mercury. He is obligated to proclaim his find. The Gemara explains, and these are coins that were configured like the stones of the house of worship dedicated to Mercury. Like, how would anyone know how that goes? Like, everyone's supposed to know, oh, I can tell that's like the thing of Mercury. I mean, how? Anyway, the Gemara explains, that's why I think maybe there's codes here. If they were configured like the stones of the house of worship dedicated to Mercury, oh, if it's like Mercury, everyone knows that. Yeah, everyone knows that. Yeah, he's obligated to proclaim his find. The Gemara explains, and these are the coins that were configured like the stones of the house of worship dedicated to Mercury. One was situated here on one side, and one was situated there alongside it, and one was situated on top of the two of them. Tanu Rabbanan. I mean, if you're I don't think most people would know that, though. So, anyway, the sages taught in a Brayta, in the case of one who finds a selah coin in the marketplace, and another finds him and says, it's mine, and the distinguishing mark is that it is new, or that it is a coin minted by the Emperor Nero, or that it is minted by King so-and-so, he has not said anything, and the finder need not give him the selah. Moreover, even if his name is written on the selah, and he has not said anything, due to the fact that there is no distinguishing mark for a coin that is effective in its recovery, as the finder says, perhaps he spent the coin, and it fell from another person. Interesting. The Mishnah says, if one found behind a wooden fence or behind a stone fence bound fledglings, or if he found them in the paths, like little birds, I guess, or found them in the paths that run through the fields, he may not touch them, as they were certainly placed there intentionally. In a case where one found a vessel in a garbage dump, if it is concealed, he may not touch it, as a person certainly concealed it there. If it is exposed, the finder takes the item and proclaims his find. Gemara, the Talmud says, what is the reason that one may not touch the fledglings? The Gemara answers, the reason is that we say, with regard to these birds, a person concealed them, and if one takes them, their owner has no distinguishing mark on them, that would enable him to reclaim them. Therefore, let the finder leave the birds in place until their owner comes and takes them. Gemara asks, but why? Let the knot binding them serve as their distinguishing mark. Al-Barzah just said that Rav said, this is a case where the birds were bound at their wings. Since everyone binds them in that manner, the knot binding the birds is not a distinguishing mark. The Gemara asks, and let their location serve as their distinguishing mark. Rav Ukva Bar Chama said, this is a case where the birds hop and do not remain in place. The Gemara asks, if it is a case where the birds hop, perhaps the birds came to that location from elsewhere and it is permitted for the finder to keep them. The Gemara answers, it can be said that the birds came from elsewhere, and it can be said the person concealed them, and the result is uncertainty with regard to whether the placement of the birds was deliberate, meaning whether or not they are lost items. And Rabbi Abba Bar Zabda says that Rav says, in any case of uncertainty as to whether the placement of an item was deliberate one may not take it ab initio, and it mean like to begin with. And if he took it, he need not. But if he took it, he need not return it. The Mishnah teaches in a case where one found a vessel in a garbage dump, if it is concealed, he may not touch it, as a person certainly concealed it there. If it is exposed, the finder takes the item and proclaims his fine. The Gemara raises a contradiction from a Braita. If one found a vessel concealed in a garbage dump, the finder takes the item and proclaims his fine, because it is routine for a garbage dump to be cleared. Therefore, presumably, it was not placed there, rather, it as a lost item, and one is obligated to proclaim his fine. Razvid said that this is not difficult. This Mishnah is referring to containers or cups. That Braita is referring to knives or a fork. The Gemara elaborates in the case of containers or cups, which are large. If it is inconceivable that they fell there inadvertently, so he may not touch them. In the case of knives or forks, which are small, there is room for uncertainty as to whether it was placed there or whether it fell, so the finder takes the item and proclaims his fine. Rav Papa said, both this Braita and that Mishnah are referring to containers and cups, and nevertheless it is not difficult. Here, the Braita is referring to a garbage dump that is designed to be cleared. Therefore, he must take the vessel and proclaim his fine to prevent it from being cleared with the garbage. There, the Mishnah is referring to a garbage dump that is not designed to be cleared, as it is possible that the owner placed it there. The finder may not touch it. The Gemara asks, how could one be obligated to proclaim his fine of a vessel in a garbage dump that is designed to be cleared? Even if the owner of the vessel concealed it there, it is a deliberate loss, and the owner renounced ownership of the vessel. The Gemara answers, rather, the Braita is referring to a garbage dump that is not designed to be cleared, and the owner of the land reconsidered and designed to clear it. The Gemara asks, granted, according to Rav Papa, this is the reason that the Tana teaches in the Braita, he takes it and proclaims his fine, because it is routine for a garbage dump to be cleared, as the ruling is dependent on whether the dump is ultimately cleared. But according to Razvid, the reason for the ruling in the Braita is that the utensils found were knives and forks. What is the relevance of the statement in the Braita because it is routine for a garbage dump to be cleared? The Gemara answers that according to Razvid, it means because it is routine for a garbage dump to inadvertently have small utensils cleared and discarded into it. The Mishnah says, if one found lost items in a heap of stone, rubble, or in an old wall, these belong to him. If one found lost items in a new wall from its midpoint and outward, they belong to him. If he found the items from its midpoint and inward, they belong to the homeowner. If the homeowner would rent the house to others on a regular basis, and there was a steady turnover of residents, even if one lost items inside the house, these belong to him. Since the owner of the lost items cannot be identified based on location, he will certainly despair of recovering his lost items. The Gemara says, the Mishnah teaches that if one found a lost item in a heap of rubble or in an old wall, it belongs to him. The sages taught in a Braita, it is his due to the fact that when the owner of the heap or wall claims the property, the finder can say to him, they belong to the Amorites who lived in Eretz Yisrael before it was conquered by the Jews. The Gemara asks, is that to say that the Amorites conceal items, but Jews do not conceal items? Perhaps it was the homeowner who placed the item in the wall or the heap. The Gemara answers, no. The Braita is necessary only in the specific case